Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dean Rocky Duhungko, and for today we will be discussing the summary of tax remedies, both under the tax code and the local government code, and also CTA jurisdiction. So in just a few minutes, I will be discussing these topics to you. Ano yung mga dapat niyong tandaan, especially in relation to the 2024 bar exam, right? So, for the 2024 bar exam, please take note, no? Ito na yung coverage. This was lifted directly from Bar Bulletin number 1, series of 2024, particularly for the 2024 bar exam. So, i-remind ko rin kayo yung last portion ng syllabus on tax. Take note of the cut-off dates. Ang cut-off date, particularly for laws, jurisprudence, rules, is June 30, 2023. So what does that mean? That means kasama ang train and create sa amendments na kinoconsider for the 2024 bar exam. However, EOPT or ease of paying taxes, which became effective just last January 22, 2024, is excluded from the coverage. Bakit yun mahalaga? Because EOPT amended the refund process for both input VAT refund under Section 112 of the tax code and refund of erroneously paid or illegally collected taxes under Section 229. So yung mga amendments na ipinasa under EOPT, next year's bar na yon kasama para sa 2025 na. For the 2024 bar exam, doon pa rin tayo sa lumang rules. Alright? So under judicial remedies, we will study the jurisdiction of the Court of Tax Appeals. Okay? So ano ang jurisdiction ng Court of Tax Appeals when it comes to civil cases, criminal cases? Ito, institution of civil action in criminal action. There is a particular case that we will discuss later. What happens kung nauna ang criminal action bago nagkaroon ng civil action? Or what will happen if nauna ang civil action and then nagkaroon ng criminal action. Alright? There is a recently decided case particularly relevant to this line item. And last under jurisdiction would be the certiorari jurisdiction. Next, we will discuss suspension of collection of taxes. Din, tama ba yan? Eh di ba ang lifeblood theory, collection shall be made without any unnecessary hindrance. So pwede palang magkaroon ng suspension of collection of taxes? Yes, pwede. But only under a set of particular circumstances. We will also take that up later. And then last but not the least, how do we elevate cases decided by the CPA to the Supreme Court? Merong provision sa RA 1125 as amended regarding this particular topic. Okay? So without further delay, let's have an overview of the remedies. Ito ang pinaka sinasabi ko sa mga student, please don't mix and match. Take each row as one set of remedies. So yung refund under 229, huwag niyong i-apply sa refund under 112. Magkaiba sila ng remedy. Magkaiba sila ng periods at magkaiba rin sila ng proseso. Alright? So, this slide talks about refunds. That refunds of internal revenue taxes. So, ibig sabihin, ang governing law natin dito ay ang Tax Code of 1997 as amended. Alright? So, ang nire-refund mo dito ay yung mga tax na under sa administration ng BIR. Alright? There are two kinds of refunds. We mentioned that under remedies. Refunds under 112 of input VAT and refunds under Section 229 of erroneously paid or illegally collected taxes. We mentioned under remedies that there are two kinds of input VAT refunds. One arising from zero-rated sales, and the second one is particular to the cancellation of VAT registration. So, kailan ka pwedeng mag-file ng administrative refund? And by the way, guys, something I always tell my students, for remedies, you have to remember three things. Ano yung three things na yon? Number one is the prescriptive period. hanggang kailan ka pwede mag-avail ng remedy na ito. And when it comes to prescriptive or reglementary periods, ang isang pinaka dapat nating bigyan ng pansin is this is counted from when? What triggers the running of the prescriptive or the reglementary period? Second thing that students must remember is that there is always an administrative stage. Whether nasa BIR yan, customs, or nasa local treasurer, that is the administrative stage. And remember guys, one of the doctrines, di ba, that we have been studying ever since first year is the doctrine of the exhaustion of administrative remedies. So, dapat tapusin muna yung administrative stage bago umakyat, generally bago umakyat sa judicial stage. And when it comes to judicial stage, law students must remember two things. Saang court ipafile yung case, and second, within what period? What is the reglementary period for elevating the case to the judicial stage? No? So, yan yung mga dapat yung tandaan. So, when it comes to refunds, balik tayo. So, the taxpayer needs to file the input VAT refund claim with the BIR within 2 years, no? Sabi natin, counted from when? 2 years, kung zero-rated sales, 2 years from the close of the taxable quarter. Pero kung cancellation of VAT registration ang source ng input VAT refund claim, yan ang nag-cause within 2 years from the date of the cancellation. Alright? So 2 years from close of taxable quarter or 2 years from date of cancellation. And then the BIR has 90 days to decide on the input VAT refund claim. Right? Kung tapos na sa administrative stage, kailan ka ngayon mag-e-elevate sa CPA? Right? So sa judicial stage, kung hindi pabor sa taxpayer yung decision ng BIR, the taxpayer may file the case within 30 days from receipt of the adverse decision to the CPA division. Right? Being question, applicable ba dito ang inaction by the BIR within 90 days? Pwede bang mag-elevate ng case to the CPA kung may inaction? The answer is under the current version of the law applicable to the 2024 bar exam, no. Okay? Inaction will not trigger the running of the 30-day reglementary period. It is only the receipt of the adverse decision that will trigger the running of the 30-day period. Now, 30 days within which the taxpayer may elevate the case to the CPA. Right? Next, for internal revenue taxes naman, refunds under Section 229. Ito yung totoong nagkamali ng bayad. Sumobra yung bayad. So, refunds of erroneously paid or illegally collected taxes. Take note guys, under this provision, again, this is the old provision but applicable to the 2024 bar exam. Both administrative claim with the BIR and judicial claim with the CPA division naman must be filed within 2 years from the date of the erroneous payment. This is an exceptional case when the taxpayer need not wait for the decision of the BIR on the administrative claim before the judicial claim can be filed before the CPA. No? So, pwede na yang magkasunod. Take note, both claims must be filed before the 2-year period ends, counted from the date of the erroneous payment. No? Ibig sabihin ba, dahil both admin and judicial claim dapat mangyari within 2 years, pwedeng mauna yung CPA before BIR? No. No? The answer is no. Under 229, dapat mauna pa rin ang refund claim before the BIR before the refund claim is elevated to the CPA. Nandun yan sa provisions ng Section 229. Right? How about assessments? Assessments, no, for internal revenue taxes made by the BIR, syempre ang susundin pa rin natin dito is the tax code. So for assessments, the BIR has 3 years to issue the assessment. Okay, so 3 years counted from when? Counted from the due date or filing date of the return, whichever is later. Yun ang counting ha. 3 years counted from the due date or filing date, whichever is later. However, in cases of false or fraudulent returns or there is failure to file a return, ang assessment period will extend to 10 years from the discovery of the false, fraudulent, or the failure to file the return. Okay? When it comes to assessment, guys, remember, dalawa ang dapat natin i-consider, assessment and collection. Magkaiba ang prescriptive period ng assessment at ng collection. Yung assessment, 3 years, right? And then the BIR has another 3 years to make the collection. Okay? So kung sa assessment, hindi nakapag-assess or hindi nakapag-issue ng fund within 3 years, yung fund ang i-issue ha, within 3 years, wala na, prescribed na. Pero kahit nakapag-assess si BIR within 3 years, pero hindi siya nakapag-collect within 3 years counted from the assessment, wala na rin. Hindi na siya makakapag-collect. So, dapat assessment to happen in 3 years plus another 3 years to make the collection. Otherwise, the BIR is already prescribed from enforcing these remedies. Okay? What is this 5 years under collection? In a case decided by the Supreme Court, sabi ng Supreme Court, kung 10 years extraordinary period ang ginamit para sa assessment, the BIR has another 5 years to make the collection. So if you look at this slide, no, pag ordinary assessment lang siya, 3 years assessment plus 3 years for collection. However, in case of extraordinary assessments, yung false fraudulent failure to file, FFF. No? Pag extraordinary assessments for FFF, 10 years for assessment and another 5 years for collection. Right? What will happen under the administrative stage? Sa administrative stage, di ba sabi natin, dapat the BIR will issue the fund within 3 years for ordinary assessments and 10 years for extraordinary assessments. Upon receipt of the fund, the taxpayer has 30 days to protest, to file the protest. Ano yung plus 60 at saka bakit siya naka-parenthesis? Because the plus 60 will depend on whether the protest takes the form of a request for reconsideration or a request for reinvestigation. Pag reconsideration, walang plus 60, walang submission of additional documents. Mag-start na mag-run ang 180 days of the BIR to decide on the case. Right? Yung plus 60 will apply if the protest takes the form of a request for reinvestigation because the taxpayer intends to submit additional evidence. So magpro-protest siya within 30 days and then the taxpayer has another 60 days within which to submit additional documents. And the 180-day period of the BIR to decide on the case will only start to run after the submission of the additional documents within 60 days. So, 30 plus 60 plus 180 kung request for reinvestigation. Okay? And then yung sa next, sa dulo, din, bakit may parenthesis na naman yung plus FBBA? Kasi if we look at the judicial stage, the taxpayer has two options to elevate, when it comes to elevating the case to the CTA. As to option 1, the taxpayer may elevate the case to the CTA within 30 days from the lapse of the 180-day period. So, tumakbo yung 180, nag-lapse, there is inaction. Pwedeng mag-elevate ang taxpayer sa CTA ng kanyang case, right? The second option is, kaya naka-parenthesis, the taxpayer may await the issuance and receipt of the FDDA, final decision on disputed assessment. And it is within 30 days from the receipt of the FDDA when the taxpayer may elevate the case to the CTA. So, dalawang option. And take note, under the cases of RCBC and Lascona, these two options are mutually exclusive. Exercise of option 1, so nag-elevate ka na after lapse ng 180, exercise of option 1 will preclude the exercise of option 2. Kung in-exercise ng option 1, hindi na pwedeng i-exercise ang option 2. Sa RCBC case, 'di ba, in-exercise nila ang option 1. Kaya hindi na nila pwede i-exercise ang option 2. In the Lascona case, Lascona did not exercise option 1. It actually awaited the receipt of the FDDA bago siya nag-elevate. And that one is valid. So, hindi nag-exercise ng option 1 si Lascona. Therefore, it is not precluded from exercising option 2. Alright? And this one naman, ito, don't mix and match nga, reminder na naman. Because this slide pertains to taxes under the local government code. And there are two types, the local taxes and real property taxes. So when it comes to assessment of local taxes, so local business tax, di ba? Yan, by the way, local business tax lang yung kasama sa 2024 bar exam, no? If you look at the syllabus. For assessment of local taxes, it is 5 years counted from the date it becomes due. So due date ang titignan. Hindi payment date, hindi whichever is later, walang ganon. Assessment is 5 years from the time they become due. Okay, that's the prescriptive period. And for collection, merong 5 years from the date of assessment. So 5 plus 5. In case of extraordinary prescription or assessment, meron ding 10 years. So magiging 10 plus 5, right? So ordinary 5 plus 5. Pag extraordinary sa local taxes, 10 plus 5. So what happens? So makakatanggap si taxpayer ng Notice of Assessment or NOA. Take note, sa local stage, the taxpayer has 60 days to protest, and after filing the protest, the treasurer has 60 days only to decide. Nakita nyo, ibang-iba to doon sa kanina, the BIR has 180 days. For local taxes, the local treasurer only has 60 days to decide on the case. Okay? After that, anong mangyayari? The taxpayer may elevate the case to the MTC or RTC, first or second level courts, within 30 days from the lapse of the 60-day period within which the treasurer must decide, or receipt of the decision if the decision was received earlier than the lapse of the 60-day period. So, may 30 days and take note, nakikita nyo, hindi sa CTA ang akyat. Sa MTC or RTC, depending on whether the amount being assessed exceeds the 2 million peso threshold. Remember, na-adjust na yan under RA 11576. 2 million na ang tinitignan. Alright? So, kung mababa sa 2 million, MTC. Kung mataas sa 2 million, RTC. So, what happens next? Paano aakyat sa CTA? No? If the case, dahil mababa sa 2 million, was originally filed in the MTC. So, MTC is exercising original jurisdiction. Pag talo sa MTC, aakyat sa RTC. So, RTC is exercising appellate jurisdiction, di ba, over the decision in the MTC. From the RTC, ang akyat natin sa CTA and bank na diretso. Okay? Hindi na tayo mag-division. From RTC, exercising appellate jurisdiction, diretso na sa CTA and bank. Right? However, if the case was originally filed in the RTC due to jurisdictional amount, so mataas sa 2 million, okay? If it was originally filed with the RTC, meaning RTC is exercising original jurisdiction, at halimbawa talo, we will elevate the case to the CTA division. The CTA division will be exercising original appellate jurisdiction. Alright? That's local taxes, When it comes to real property taxes, iba na naman. So, ano naman ang administrative stage sa local, sa real property taxes rather? For collection of real property taxes, the real property taxes must be collected within 5 years from the time they become due. So, overall collection na kagad. It must happen within 5 years from the time they become due. Okay? 10 years extendable if with fraud. Okay? So ano yung payment? Bakit dito sa administrative column payment agad? Remember, for real property taxes, the payment under protest principle applies. Okay? So kung makatanggap ka ng deficiency tax assessment for real property taxes, the taxpayer need to pay first and write the words paid under protest on the official receipt. After that, okay, within 30 days counted from the payment, saka lang tatakbo yung kanyang period to file the protest. So, ganun kahalaga yung payment, no 30 days to protest. So, it is only upon payment when the running of the 30-day period within which to file the protest will start to run. So, after the protest, the local treasurer has 60 days to decide. And then after the 60-day period of the local treasurer to decide, the case can be elevated to the local board of assessment appeals and then to the central board of assessment appeals. For jurisdiction of the LBAA and CBAA, please watch the video on real property taxes. That concept is explained in more detail under that video. Okay? And then after ng CBAA, no, saan na tayo pupunta? Sa CTA division? Sorry, this should be CTA and bank rather. I will have to correct this guys. This is CTA and bank. Within 15 days from the receipt of the CBAA decision. Please disregard yung CTA division dito sa real property taxes. If coming from CBAA, again, this should be CTA and bank within 15 days from receipt of the CBAA decision. All right? So, going into the CTA jurisdiction proper, our governing law is Republic Act number 1125 as amended by subsequent Republic Act. So, marami na yung amendments. Okay? But most particularly for CTA jurisdiction, the section that you need to study the most is Section 7. Yun yung jurisdiction ng CTA. Okay? So, let's go to some of the cases. Okay? So, in this case, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na important case. People of the Philippines versus Dr. Joel Mendez. It's a 2023 case, pasok sa cut-off, and the ponente is Justice Mario Lopez, our 2024 bar chair. Okay? There are several issues and legal principles that you may get from this case, but particularly for CTA jurisdiction, this case reconciles the appellate jurisdiction of the RTC and the CTA. And at the same time, no, it also reconciles or issues guidelines on what will happen if a criminal action is instituted along with a civil action or vice versa when it comes to tax collection cases. Okay? So marami pang ibang issues na diniscuss dito sa case na ito. But for this video, now we will discuss the appellate jurisdiction of the RTC and CPA, and at the same time, the interplay between filing of criminal and civil actions when it comes to tax collection cases. Okay? So dito sa case na ito, okay, in two separate informations, Dr. Joel Mendez, who is the sole proprietor of Wayles Center, yung mga face salon and spa, no, was charged with violation of Section 255 of the tax code. So, two informations. Yung isa, failure to file an ITR. The second one is failure to supply correct and accurate information in the ITR. So ano bang issue? Ano bang conflict between the appellate jurisdiction of the RTC and the CTA? So, in 2004, Republic Act 9282 conferred original and appellate jurisdiction over criminal cases and tax collection cases to the CTA division in Section 7B and 7C respectively. Pero, nung pinasa ang Republic Act 11576, which increased the threshold values for civil cases falling within the exclusive original jurisdiction of first and second level courts. Ito na nga yung 2 million threshold, no? Ang nangyari, parang nagkalituhan na sino ang may jurisdiction over cases involving claims amounting to 2 million pesos and below. No? Those claims amounting to more than 2 million pesos and above shall be with the RTC. So ngayon, saan ka na magpa-file ng case between MTC, RTC, and CTA? Di ba kung the amount falls between 1 million and 2 million pesos. Parang medyo nagkagulo, right? So, according to the Supreme Court, ito ang guidelines no, regarding the appellate jurisdiction of the RTC and CTA. So, guys, please take note pala, no? For this one, over tax collection cases A, B, and C shall apply. For D, E, and F, ito naman ay jurisdiction over criminal offenses. No? So, A, B, C ang magkakasama for tax collection and D, E, F ang magkakasama when it comes to criminal offenses. So, what happens kung ang tax collection case involves 1 million pesos or more? The jurisdiction shall remain with the CPA. The exclusive original jurisdiction over tax collection cases involving 1 million pesos or more remains with the CPA. Right? Eh kung below 1 million pesos, saan ka magpa-file? Sa first level courts. That is letter B. Alright? So kung below 1 million pesos, file it with the proper first level courts. Okay? If it is below 1 million pesos. Eh din, saan papasok ang RTC? Wala na ba siyang original jurisdiction? Apparently, because of the rule in People versus Mendez, wala. Okay? The only time na papasok ang RTC is if the case originally decided by the first level court, the MTC, shall be elevated to the RTC who will exercise the exclusive appellate jurisdiction over the case originally decided by the first level court. Okay? So how do we summarize A, B, and C? Pag 1 million pesos or more, CTA. Pag below 1 million pesos, MTC. If decided by the MTC and adverse to the taxpayer, saan ang appeal? Sa RTC. Alright? Same principles apply no, for DEF over criminal offenses or felonies. Diba? So kung 1 million pesos or more sa CTA pa rin. That is letter D. Kung below 1 million pesos over criminal offenses, ang exclusive original jurisdiction ay sa proper first level court. That is letter E. And the only way that the RTC will enter the picture is if it will exercise exclusive appellate jurisdiction over criminal offenses or felonies originally decided by the first level court. Kung MTC ka unang nag-file dahil below 1 million siya, ang akyat mo on appeal is sa RTC. Alright? It must be emphasized, however, that the foregoing clarification shall apply to cases filed only upon effectivity of RA 11576 on August 21, 2021. Since jurisdiction over the subject matter in criminal cases is determined by the statute in force at the time of commencement of the action. Okay? So, ito old rule na to, just to reiterate, a formal assessment is not required before the institution of the criminal complaint. They can proceed independently of each other. Right? Next, ito naman, yung sinasabi natin, what happens if there is a civil action first before a criminal action is filed? Or if meron mo ng criminal action and then nag-file ng civil action. Okay? So, yung guidelines, nandun din sa People versus Mendez. Ganon kahalaga itong case na ito. So, sabi natin kanina, when a criminal action for violation of tax laws is filed, a prior assessment is not required. Diba? They can proceed independently of each other. Neither is a final assessment a precondition to collection of delinquent taxes because the criminal action is deemed as the collection case. Therefore, in the criminal action, the government must prove two things. Number one, guilt pa rin beyond reasonable doubt. Bakit? Criminal action pa rin to eh. So yun pa rin yung burden of proof na required. Right? And second, the accused's civil liability for taxes by competent evidence. Okay? So what happens if before the criminal action, meron na palang civil suit for collection? Okay? Ito naman yung pangalawang guideline. If before the institution of the criminal action, the government filed a civil suit for collection or an answer to the taxpayer's petition for review before the CTA, ano mangyayari? Yung civil action shall be suspended before judgment on the merits until final judgment is rendered in the criminal action. Ulitin natin ha, may civil action muna. And then subsequently, nagkaroon ng criminal action. What is the effect of the filing of the criminal action on the pending civil action? Sabi sa rule na ito, the civil action shall be suspended. Okay? However, before judgment on the merits is rendered in the civil action, it's possible that it may be consolidated with the criminal action. And in such a case, na-consolidate na, di ba, yung criminal and yung civil action. The judgment in the criminal action shall include a finding to the accused's civil liability for unpaid taxes relative to the criminal case. Right? So those are the guidelines in the prosecution of criminal actions for violation of tax laws. Okay. So ito, question. Kasama ba sa jurisdiction ng CTA ang legality ng BIR issuances? The answer is yes. It is the Court of Tax Appeals and not the RTC that has jurisdiction to rule on the constitutionality and validity of revenue issuances by the CIR. This is the ruling from the case of St. Mary's Academy Caloocan versus CIR, a 2021 case. Okay? What's the basis for this ruling? Because if we read Section 7A, number 1, exclusive appellate jurisdiction of the CTA shall cover decisions of the CIR, blah, blah, blah. Tapos sa dulo, may makikita kayo. Or other matters arising under the NIRC or other law or part of law administered by the BIR. So itong portion ng other matters, this is interpreted to be broad enough to cover even issuances by the BIR. Pasok siya doon sa other matters. Kaya lahat ng galing sa BIR, diretso sa CTA ang filing. Right? Next, how about warrant of distraint and or levy? Saan ia-appeal din yan? In the case of La Flor de la Isabela, April 2021 case penned by the previous bar chair, Justice Hernando, does the Court of Tax Appeals have the jurisdiction to decide on the validity of the WDL issued by the CIR? And the answer is same as the St. Mary's case. Yes. Yung Section 7 of RA 9282, amending 1125, RA 1125, provides for the exclusive appellate jurisdiction of the CTA on matters arising under the NIRC. Pasok din yung WDL doon sa other matters arising under the NIRC. Okay? O how about the legality of ordinances? Kasi 'di ba, ang sanggunian mag-i-issue ng revenue ordinance imposing taxes. Saan i-elevate to? Sa CTA din ba? Take note, hindi na galing sa BIR yung ordinance, 'di ba? Galing na yan sa concerned sanggunian. The answer is no, it is not the CTA that has jurisdiction over questions on the legality of ordinances. Under Section 187 of the Local Government Code, aggrieved taxpayers who question the validity or legality of a tax ordinance are required to file an appeal before the Secretary of Justice before they seek intervention from the regular courts. Kailan ka mag-elevate ng case to the Secretary of Justice? Within 30 days from the effectivity of the questioned ordinance. Okay? Naman, power to issue injunctions. Paano to? Lifeblood doctrine. Diba? Are courts empowered to grant an injunction against collection of taxes? In the case of CIR versus Standard Insurance, 2021 case from Justice Hernando, general rule, no. Kasi nga lifeblood fury, di ba? They should be collected without unnecessary hindrance. However, Section 218 of the NIRC expressly provides that no court shall have the authority to grant an injunction to restrain the collection of any national internal revenue tax, fee, or charge imposed by the code. May exception daw. An exception to this rule, however, is provided under Section 11 of RA 1125, which is the law on the Court of Tax Appeals. Pwede siya when in the opinion of the CTA, the collection may jeopardize the interest of the government and or the taxpayer. So that is the only justification for the issuance of an injunction against the collection of taxes. Section 11, RA 1125. Right? Okay, so how do we elevate the case to the Supreme Court from the CPA? This is provided under Section 19 of RA 1125, again amended by RA 9282. Na a party adversely affected by a decision or ruling of the CPA and bank may file with the Supreme Court. So take note ha, hindi CPA division. Dapat na-decide na siya ng CPA and bank may file with the Supreme Court a verified petition for review on certiorari pursuant to Rule 45 of the Rules of Court. Okay? So follow lang natin yung Rule 45 ng Rules of Court. And that's it. Thank you for listening to this video lecture. Thank you and best of luck in the bar exams. I hope may natutunan kayo, particularly on the judicial remedies. Okay? So I hope you finish all your review materials and you remain steadfast in your quest to become a full-fledged lawyer. If you want to follow me on Twitter, follow me using the handle What Rocky Thinks. If you have comments or questions on this video, please feel free to write your comment down below. Right? Thanks, guys.